Last year, in my 9th Vocaloid Extras episode, I talked about the Utau software and 3 of its most recognizable characters, Defoko, Kasane Teto, and Momone Momo. But these 3 are only the very top of the tip of the Utauloid iceberg, and aside from Teto, they aren't the best sounding or best performing voice banks. I can't tell you which ones are the best because Utau is a very different beast from Vocaloid. The Utau software allows users to create their own voice banks, so there are hundreds and hundreds of them. Overwhelming is definitely a word that comes to mind. While I can't promise I will do more Utau videos in the future, I did want to do at least one more, because Utau deserves a lot of credit. Teto has become very popular, and she can often be seen alongside Vocaloids in official media because of the great quality of her voice. But Teto is not the only Utauloid with a great voice. Not by a long shot. So today I'm going to talk about some of the other Utau characters and voice banks that were created in the same vein as Kasane Teto, the so-called Vipperloids. What the heck is a Vipperloid? It's one of the ways to refer to Kasane Teto and other Utauloids created by users of a particular board of the Japanese site called nichannel. If you used the web in the late 90s and early 2000s, you've probably joined at least one message board or web forum before, which ran software like Envision PowerBoard or vBulletin. You might have even made one yourself. The Japanese had their own message boards, but the graphics and feature-heavy style popular in the West never caught on there. Almost exclusively, the Japanese stuck to systems reminiscent of BBS, or bulletin board systems, that were popular in the West prior to graphical internet browsers. nichannel is a text board launched in 1999, and it has since become the largest message board in Japan, receiving millions of new posts daily. Unlike most Western message boards, text boards generally don't allow people to embed images or videos, or to do any other special functions like private messaging. They only display text. But perhaps the largest departure from Western forums is that text boards are anonymous and require no account registration. This sounds like a recipe for trouble, and indeed, nichannel is not known for being a very friendly or reputable place, but it was done intentionally because of Japanese culture. So what does this have to do with Utau? It's all about a particular board from nichannel known as the VIP board, which was named sarcastically. The VIP or VIP board was apparently originally created as a sort of junkyard or hall of shame, where troll threads or threads made by banned users would be moved to clean up the discussion boards. But some users began to post in the VIP board intentionally, or tried to get their threads moved there by posting works that were considered stupid or outlandish, yet deserving merit for their creativity. And over time these users, known as Vippers, formed their own sort of subculture. What exactly that culture is, I really couldn't say, but much of it seems to revolve around trolling or pranking people, and one Japanese fandom that made itself a very easy target in 2008 was the Vocaloid fans. In early 2008, the users of the VIP board started brainstorming details for a fake Vocaloid, intent on convincing Vocaloid fans that it was real, and the result of that activity was Kasane Teto, famously unveiled on April 1st, 2008. But Teto was only the first fake Vocaloid that the users of VIP would create. I don't know how many of these fake Vocaloids they have created in total, but several of them eventually received Utau voice banks, and they are why we are here today. These Vipperloids were designed by a group who tried to create the most ridiculous fan Vocaloids possible, so they have very bizarre character profiles, and you shouldn't take them seriously. But some of them are very popular Utauloids because they have appealing character designs and or well-made voice banks. I haven't paid much attention to Utau because, well, it's so vast that I didn't really know where to start, and because most of the Utau songs I had heard had this characteristic buzzing, synthetic tone, which wasn't what I was really looking for. That sound and the roughness of the voices are still common, but the Utau software has seen important updates over the past couple of years, and the voice banks created with it have also become much smoother and more natural sounding. So if you enjoy Vocaloid, it's definitely worth it to at least take an occasional glance at what Utau producers create. Many popular Vocaloid producers also use Utau voice banks from time to time. I'm going to go in chronological order with these Vipperloids, so we'll begin with the one who followed Taito. First up, we have Yokune Ruko, who was released on November 17, 2008. Now, when I say released, I mean that the VIP users posted quote-unquote news about her release as if she were a real Vocaloid to various Japanese social media outlets and video sites. They produced artwork, promotional videos, even fake website layouts to go along with the prank. I'm not sure exactly when Ruko's original voice bank was released for public use, though it was likely not long after her announcement. If you watched my first Utau video, then you know about Ruko's most curious characteristic, which is that she is both male and female at the same time. This was done as a spoof of Megurine Luca, who was released in January of 2008. As Luca had two voice banks, so does Ruko, with a female voice bank and a male one. Yokune means greedy sound, which is an allusion to her having two voice banks. Her full name is a play on a Japanese phrase, Yokuneruko, meaning a child who sleeps a lot. A Japanese folk tradition says that children who sleep a lot grow very tall, so Ruko was made enormous. She stands at 197 centimeters, or about 6'5". The group who owns her likeness and maintains her voice banks is known as Long Sleeper, so yeah, the oversleeping thing is pretty important to her character. It should be no surprise that she loves coffee. Initially, Ruko was going to be associated with the model number 03, just like Luca, but it was ultimately changed to the number 65, which means that June 5th is known as Ruko Day. Other character traits are that Ruko is described as a romantic, loving person, and that she, for some reason, secretly loves to gamble. Unlike the Kagamines or Luca, Ruko's two voice banks are provided by two different people, one female voice provider and one male provider, so they don't sound at all alike. Though, even beyond that, Ruko in particular presents a problem for me because each of these voice banks have different versions. For example, her female voice bank has a version 1, a version 2, and a version 3, and the version 3 voice bank download includes her standard voice and 5 appends. Her male voice bank's third version was also just released earlier in the year. All of that and more makes it a bit difficult to show you all exactly what Ruko's voices sound like because they're different in every song I listen to, though her male voice bank is a little more predictable. But there are good Ruko songs out there, and because of her appealing character design and early release, she's fairly popular.
うしてこんなにとてもいない。会いたい君に伝えたい。君にだけは伝えておきたい。もう辛いとても辛い。どうしてこんなにとても辛い。会いたい君に会いたい。胸のこの変化とても痛い。きっかけは自分だったのです。傷をつけてしまったのです。放っておけば自然消滅でも痛みがいちいち主張してくるよとしていたら何も見えない。なったものにしかわからない。そんなの理不尽極まりないよ。誰か僕の苦しみを知ってよ。
来ないで来ないで、そんなに刺激を与えないで。どんないでどんないで、いちいち話いちやさないで。Go away Go away、 私はそのうち消え去るよ。だから平気なふりして耐えきってよ。
もう痛いとても痛い。どうしてこんなにとても痛い。会いたい君に伝えたい。君に
俺だけが指をかいた手のひらから傷をぎゅっとこらして床に散った花束。
昔のそのパターン、昔とる貴族の仲良しな兄弟が役所。ちゃんとやれ視野が及ぶ。席つけよう。いろんな人と僕で応戦いたしますの。だって僕らはブルジョアのためにただ貴族様なんですでしょ。ひれ伏せ組君との違いを大概スローに見せてやるって。待って待ってまた勝手にそんな見抜けるよ。女はったりかまして。
はいはいはいはい、お兄様の仰せのままに。
ムカつくぜマジムカつくぜ。ありに対して生意気な態度。時の声ゴングを鳴らせ。喧嘩勃発で宣戦布告。いざつらしてあるのにしてほらこら青スタイルでおやすみか。ジャパンの色が逃がそうで君の負け。
Though these VIP-created Utauloids are among the most famous, they are not necessarily the best among Utau voice banks. They are simply well known because of the group that made them, and they were used to troll people. But if any of them have the potential to reach Tatos levels of success, Namine Ritsu is definitely first pick. Ritsu's voice bank is very popular because of its quality and sweet sound. Ritsu's most noteworthy characteristic is that, well, you see, Ritsu is how do I put it?
It's a trap!
Yes, thank you, Admiral. Ritsu has a female voice bank and refers to himself with female pronouns, but he is in fact male. His character profile doesn't seem to give an explanation why he cross-dresses, but considering his intended purpose as a trick, and the fact that his given name is an anagram of Japanese slang for internet troll, it's not something we need to dwell on. He continues to surprise people to this day, so Ritsu may, in a way, be VIP's most successful troll, I guess. Apart from that, Ritsu also has some strange traits. Ritsu is explicitly stated to be an android, which is why he was listed as 6 years old when he was introduced, being manufactured in 2003, and weighing 25 tons due to having built-in weaponry. He stands at a petite 4'11", making him ever so slightly shorter than Rin, and he was designed by his voice provider, who goes by the name of Kanon, and Caffeine, the artist who created Yowane Haku. This next bit is a little curious for a Japanese character. Ritsu is described as a misanthrope, someone who hates people, which may explain why he also tends to be a bully. But specifically, he dislikes Japan, and his favorite country is actually Korea. Obviously, this is a trait that was given to him to troll Japanese people, but it gets even stranger. On his official profile, there is a presumably machine-translated version of his stats in English, and in the English portion it says that his favorite country is North Korea, which is really bizarre. The term used in the Japanese version is Chosen, which simply refers to the Korean peninsula, so it's odd to me that the English portion says North Korea. Maybe that's there to troll me personally, I don't know. Either way, you'll be hard-pressed to find any Japanese fans acknowledging this part of his character, which is unfortunate because I was kind of hoping to find pictures of Ritsu wearing hanbok, but I could only find one. Come on, Japan, I know you don't like us, but you gotta admit hanbok are pretty rockin'. Perhaps as one final nod, Ritsu's character item is Chinese cabbage, which I assume is because that cabbage is the primary veggie turned into about 1 million tons of kimchi every day. With all of that silliness aside though, Ritsu has a surprisingly good voice. As I was looking for songs to include in this example section, I kept finding songs to throw onto my own personal playlist as well. They are genuinely that good. His official site has helpfully provided a small chronology of his releases, showing us that his original brainstorming thread was created October 2nd and that he was released 10 days later, for example. It also shows when his voice banks were released, and yes, Ritsu also has several different voice banks, with his Kirei or Power Voice Bank, which came out in 2012, being particularly popular. The chronology doesn't have any updates past 2012, but on one page it says that Ritsu has a new version of his Eve voice bank due to release sometime this year, so let's keep our fingers crossed for that.
「いつになっても